guys haven't seen the FG Ute for probably a bit. I've been working on it a fair bit, and I went to just change the oil, and look at this girl. We've got a blown, most likely a blown head gasket. Almost looks like your coffee latte, but yeah, look at that, all milky. When water or coolant mixes with the oil, this is what you get. Pain in the neck. But I've looked at a few Barra. Most of them are pull downs and they're doing crazy stuff to them, you know, doing them up and stuff like that. I haven't really seen anything just bit by bit on the Barra engine doing a head gasket. I've never done one. I'm no expert, but I'm going to attempt it. So I'm going to try and film as much as I can. That'll be about 99% of it. And yeah, see how we go and see what the head gasket's condition is. So this was a real pain in the neck. I redid the transmission pan. That was all black and dirty and all that crap, and I'm starting to clean underneath and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, this was a problem, so going to be getting into that shortly. So okay, so the first thing what I'm going to do will be, I'm thinking I'll start with this sort of shroud thing that's covering part of the front bar and the Thermo fans and all that. So I've taken these off before. So we got, not that one, we got, wherever you can see the clips, they are clips even though they look like Phillips, but they are a pull up sort of thing. You need, it's good to have a very, like a Phillips, but have something that'll dig under that and help lever it up. So we got that. So these are the grill, which you won't, they're nothing to do with that. So might be even good to get probably the air box actually out first, because that's covering on top of that. So grab that one. I don't think there's a second one, is there? But anyway, we'll just go as we go and I'll document what's been taken out. So I've done, like I said, just at the air box. These are 7mm socket with a very small ratchet. So we want that one done. So that's the very first one I'm doing, and then the second part of this air pipe. Pretty much that, and so this is where I'm going from, and then we will see what I'll be doing next. Okay, so that pipe's out. Now I'm moving on to the airbox bolts. These are 8mm. There's one there and one just there as far as I can see, and that should come out, I think. It only has two, I think. Anyway, keep on checking. Okay, so I got the airbox mostly out. So that one's only got, yeah, one of those these style clips where you got to push underneath and then turn at the same time. And once you get it up to a grabbable stage, you can do it by hand. So what I've noticed is you got to be careful of this sort of airline thing that seems to be right around the back of the airbox. So that pretty much, the end of that just pretty much comes off. It's got that little lug there, but so yeah, you can work it out. It's pretty easy to get off, and then that comes right out. Might sit just sort of, oh, yeah, it's got that little sort of plastic insert, so should have to come out this way with that. So that's off. Now it's got this hose that goes across there. So you've got to unclick this somehow. try with two hands and just see if that comes off. I could have done that one-handed. So this hose, see here, you just squash it. You just squash these 2 points in, pops off. Very easy. So I'll get those out the way. Okay, so we are opening this up now. What I find when doing one part of a car, if you're similar to what I feel, I like making it clean underneath it later on. So these give you good access points, because if you do enjoy cars, love cars, want to preserve cars, you want to, this is the sort of stuff that starts getting surface rust, any sort of dirt and debris and all that sort of stuff and crap like that around. So when you do have your parts out, I find it important to jet wash it, soap it up, clean it right out, and then when you put your parts back, clean them up, put them back, and it looks nice and new. So just a small tip, what I like to do. What's next? What can we do next? So, well, I'm going to start on that outer casing, this sort of covering thing. Probably got one there. Pretty easy when you just look for what's actually holding things down. You just sort of like pull it up a little bit and see where the tightness is coming. You can see the tightness is moving around those parts. So it looks like we got one. We've got another one here and one here, maybe only 3. So I'll see if those 3 give me access to that. Also found is if you don't have a tool to get under that, if you've got a bit of a nail and you can just sort of just get the edge of it and then put your Phillips on there and turn it at the same time and put pressure on your finger, that eventually gets to a stage where it's it'll come off. Like that's still, at the moment, that's still too tight for my fingers, so I'm going to need 2 hands. So I'll keep that wedged and do the Phillips. One second. Give me a little bit of trouble. I got this, I mean, it's not a tool for this sort of stuff. Whoa, I just dropped the jar lid. So this is what the coffee jars are good for. Just throw all your nuts and bolts in there once I start doing that, because I'll get them lined up just here. And I'll stick them all in here. But yeah, if your finger's not good enough, just something like that. And just so you can leverage it up. And that way you save these without breaking them. So anyway, we'll see if can I trust that jar up there. And then there's tools like this. I've got to find my other couple of ones because this one's a bit bulky and big, but they're the same sort of thing. You just got a groove and you just wedge it up normally. So that had 3. Okay, it does seem like it is attached to the grill in some way. It's probably got clips. Wow. Oh, look at it. I got a few cracks in my grill. I didn't even realise. Look at that. I'm going to have to repair that. Another thing to do, of course. So I am going to take that one off and that one. Okay, I got that separated. Maybe you can break them, I don't know, but I pretty much grabbed that same tool and just put it in the edges and just carefully, not smash, and they all popped off. So just a little bit as you go along either direction, and there's 4. So you got 1, 2, 3. Oh no, there's more. Wait, it's 5. 3 on one side, and then you have that big gap, and then there's another 2. So that's that shield off. There was a bit of plastic that fell down. I don't know if I broke it when I did it, but one has got a slight break in it. No big deal. You can easily just fiberglass and make that hole again. It's too easy. That's pretty easy. But that's the size little holes or rectangles they go into. So this one's got a crack. I could easily repair it. I'll be taking this off and fixing all this anyway, but yeah, you got to look out for that sort of thing. Next thing I'm going to do, these look, just by sight, they look around the 13mm. They could be 12 or 14 even, but they look like 13s to me, so they're sort of like radiator holders. So there's only 2, so I'll remove those. On occasion they are 12 millimeters. Perfect weather today, sun is out. Now again, if you don't want to always put everything in there, the next best place is to put it where it was. Actually, I prefer if I can put a bolt back where it was, just to stick it there. It's out the way, and then you just have to put the part that goes under it, or whatever it's for, and it's in its place. See what I was talking about before about cleaning. See, before I put these back, I'm going to clean that all up and blacken them when I put them back, so they just look a bit more fresh. See how they've got surface rust? Just preserves your car. And when you open the bonnet, looks alright. And this all looks all a bit shabby, so that all has to be done as well. Well, that's what I want to do anyway. There's another one. Stick that in there, and this bolt back here. And see, you got movement already. So this might already start to lift. So unfortunately, the overflow bottle, got to lose all that water. That water that's been getting into my oil, and yeah, so I'll just work out what I want to do next and be back. Okay, only 2 seconds ago, just ripped this plug off. It just goes into there, and all it's got is just one of those push buttons. So just push that to the side, and next I got a 10mm socket, because on this Thermo fans, they got, if you can see, just behind there's a 10mm, and obviously on the other side there's a 10mm. I still haven't looked down lower, but I probably would suspect they got 10mm, unless they just sit in some sort of groove, normally like a lot of radiators do. We'll have a look. Like I suspected, it was only those 2 10mm, and these, they just sit on like a long bolt or something. Yeah, so they just come straight up. So just the 2 10mm, and then pull up, and the whole thing comes out. And again, you can see all the crap, so I'm going to give them a good clean, and maybe even a spray up before I reinstall. Okay, so that's what it looks like without the Thermo fans. Now I don't know yet if I need to take the aircon radiator, or it's a radiator and the aircon next to each other, because I think I've got to take that harmonic balancer off as well. But first I'm going to take off the exhaust manifold shield. They're 13mm, like that. One, looks like another one there, and I can see a small one that looks like could be a 10mm, and I don't know if there's one behind that, but I'll do some searching and let you know. So there's actually 5 bolts, so there was one in the middle, just there. So there's 3 on the top and 2 10mm, and that 10mm was yeah, right down there somewhere. Let's see if I can see it there. It was somewhere there somewhere. Anyway, it was underneath the shield. I don't know if they all had shields like this. The XR6 didn't seem to have this extra piece on there, but it was just, yeah, it must have been there. Yeah, anyway, so there and there. So yeah, we'll continue on. So took all those manifold bolts out. There's practically 12, so even counting the heat shield, 12 plus the 2 small 10 mils. But they're all off and they just drop down like that. See the gasket. And you got to remember also with LPG engines, they burn a lot hotter, I heard, than regular engines with the LPG fuel type. So yeah, these get a little bit more hotter. Even when I changed the spark plugs originally, they almost melted into where they sit. I was very fortunate that I didn't break them when I removed them, and they practically like melt together inside the head. So that's all for today. I'll be back again soon to continue the process of doing the gasket on a 2010 FGU, which it looks like. So we've got most likely 10 mils, so you should only have to probably have to take both off these because they go onto that aircon support, and there's another 2 there. And down there. Let's have a look. And you got another 2 there. If there's any sort of change in what I do, I'll definitely let you know. But that's what I'm going to work on now. So let me have a look. So yeah, anyway, I'll work it out and get back to you. Okay, so I've got those the 210 millis out. I'm still mucking around with I think I'm going to have to take those 2 in front rather than the single one on the back. I'll still check that, but right now I'm going to start to drain the hoses. So I'm going to, instead of taking the water flow hose off there, take it off at the radiator, and I got my bucket straight underneath to catch the water. So I'll take it off there with a good pair of these because they're the squashing type. You just bring those clamps in together, the 2 bigger points, squash it together, and then push it backwards. And like push it back like that. So I'll get the hoses off and get those waters draining because they also hold the radiator. And with the overflow one, I'll take it off up here instead of on that corner. So go from there. Okay, so there's a fair bit in that overflow pipe still, and I've just dropped that one. You can see all the green fluid underneath. Try to catch as much of that poison as possible. You don't want pets getting to that. Yeah, so next, it's got a funny sort of hose clamp on that one, so I'm going to be removing this one at the back, which is you can do a flat nose screwdriver to that, I think, or a Phillips, and get it from the main water pump. So I'll do that next. Surprisingly, there's jack oil coming out of that, maybe because most of it came off here. This is what I'm talking about, was on the bottom one. Anyone seen one of these? Yeah. Anyway, I'll just take it off from that side, which has got probably an 8mm head on it just there. So I'll take it off from the radiator itself. It was actually a 7mm end on that. Now, depending on who's touched your car and where it's been, you might have different ones, but Don't know if that's original or not, who knows. All I can do is give you the numbers that I come across, and hopefully they're similar. Okay, I'll look for the next step. Okay, now it was too hard to get that 10mm off the side. You might be better going off just off the brackets, even off that one, because that was still tricky to get the single off. I'd go with the brackets myself again if I tried. So there is a sneaky one, which is just under that water line. There's a 10mm directly under it where the ratchet is. That has to come off. That was the little 10mm head off it. Now you can see the pipes. If you push forward, it comes right off. You can see the thread. If I zoom in, you can see the thread from it just there. So you just push this forward and that'll come off. Okay, she's out. Took a little bit just to get all the hoses to sort of clear everything, and that aircon hose was in the way, but I got it out. It looks like it had a rubber on the bottom here. That as well. So there's the other radiator there. So good job. I'm just seeing how much it needs to have a pulley to go on that, but this may still need to come out. I don't know yet, but this is all part of learning. Alright, back soon. Another tip is getting in these cheap lunch bags, sort of handy bags, right on that radiator. They're the radiator bolts of what I've taken off, and yeah, for easy reinstall. Okay, next I'm going to take the belt off, but I'm not taking the belt off in a traditional way. I think you can put a socket onto that and then put tension on it and it'll loosen all the belts, but I'm going to put a brand new belt on, so let's see what happens with the chopper. And I've taken photos, so I'll probably upload photos of the way the belt goes anyway. All good. The reason why I chopped my belt, I don't know the history of this car. I never got anything to say that it had been replaced, never got told anything, so I'd rather put a brand new one on there and know that it's brand new than having put it back on and then suddenly it snaps somewhere in a faraway distance sort of area and stuff like that and be stuck. So yeah, just cut it off, put a new one on. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm not sure what size Allen key, you're just going to have to get a whole group of Allen keys and see what fits in there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is there one somewhere? There's probably one at the back, 7. I'd say is about 7. So I'll take those off now. And of course, the coffee latte oil cap. Okay, another tip going along with your bags, of course, is that very back Allen key bolt is one of the biggest mongrel things. Now I took one of the bolts into my tool case and found this hex head, which is the same as the Allen key. This is saying 5mm on the actual, with a very small ratchet, and that makes it so much better. Not so much easy, but better, because you can do a lot more turns with it than the Allen key, because it's a very slow task. And the good thing is, what I did is I put my finger to give the bolt a bit of pressure on the edge while I was twisting it, just to give it a bit of tension so the ratchet would work just a lot better. Yeah, that was bad. What I reckon is when car companies say that when they put everything in new, so they don't fix it, right? But they should have to have their engineers get like a mechanic to work on it. Brand new car, pull the whole thing apart when it's in the car and see where they can make adjustments so it's easier for the mechanic. But no, they don't do that, do they? So we're gonna find all the really menial tasks to perform there. It's right down the very back there, so pain in the neck. Got them all out, bagged them, tagged them, all done. So we'll see if that comes off. Before I ripped that off, I did two more things prior to that. Sorry about that. I took the airline hose off the brake booster because that, and I pulled that pipe up because that sits right pretty much across it. So you get that right out of the way, and also I forget what these are called, but you pull that out and that will go nicely because you don't want to break these, can get brittle, these plastic pipes. I just put mine behind one of the metal lines up the top just to get it out the way while I perform that task. So just get this cover off. Boo, but not a boo-boo. I think there's another one under this pipe because I can see something like a bracket just in there. I think there's another one because it's not coming up all the way and it's stopping on there, so gotta get this off somehow. I can see from this side is we've got a 10mm just there holding that down. We've got this very small pipe going onto it, so we don't want to break that plastic little pipe. Got to be careful there, and hopefully that loosens up just to come off. Let's see how we go. I've got that, there's one on that side as well, so that's just a sort of a nut washer, and that's a bolt, both 10mm. Now I've got the trusty Sidchrome ratchet. Now that's a bit more chunky than this old junky school one, but that's the one that fits straight under on that side because of this thing. So that fits there, and the bigger one fitted there, so if you've got more than one ratchet, keep it handy. So this is starting to get loose, and you can see that's going to come off. So you'll just check this pipe off. I think it'll go up that way and that'll just slide off. Well, what I did is actually took that small one right off totally, just come off on both sides, and that just pretty much pulls up off that thing. Again, I'm not using a bag on these ones, just I put it back into where it should be, and the nut, and that should stay for when I put it back on. So I just got to fix that wire. Don't leave your rubbers like that because they can just go in that one position and make it harder for you. So always fix these sort of things. Oops. Oh, it looks like it was sitting like that actually. Someone's put that on wrong. So I'll have to take this metal thing off, which will just come off like that, and I'll probably get some pegs to just hold that back so it stays in its shape. Anyway, back later. It's out the way now. Yep, there is one there, so I should be able to put that 5mm ratchet one in. I am trying to organise a camera to put on a tripod so you can actually see every bit of work, but yeah, we'll get there. And there's another one to go in the bag. So, well, you're watching. Let's see if this comes off now. Whoa, okay, off. 1 second. It's got something at the back there or what? There she goes. At least there's no, like in the XR6 I did, there was a dead burnt huntsman just sitting in there, so it's got a couple little things that need attention, but I'll have a look. There are going to be some small differences with LPG engines to petrol engines, so you've got to account for that. I like putting tape over things that bugs and spiders and all that can crawl into overnight and that. So I mean, you imagine a huntsman going in there and then you put the cover on and you didn't know it was there, yeah? So it's good to cover holes when you can. This is all coming off, so I'm not covering this at the moment, and it's not going to matter anyway because that's all getting teared down. So unless it was straight away I was going overnight, I'd cover it up, but that's coming off today, so not much chance of anything going in there while I'm working on it. Anyway, so this is underneath. There's a little bit of surface rust in there for sure. So I'm thinking that probably the next thing is I'll get these wires out there. You're supposed to be careful of these tabs because they can get brittle. You just push down a little bit and pull off. Just be gentle with them. Pull off so they don't break. There's one in Again, the same thing, push down and pull off like that. And another one here. Oh, come on. Get that out the way. Look at that. Easy peasy, Japanesey. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just unplug all these, and then I'll probably get into these bolts here. They look like 10 mils as well, but we will definitely let you know. Back soon. Prior to taking those out as well is, or taking them out prior, is with a black permanent text. I just put number 1 and 1 on the actual coil. So I've done 2, and you can see just on, you be able to see that on there, 2, and so forth, 3 on the plug and 3 on the coil. All the coils and the wires is just set aside. See, this one's got a little bit of corrosion in there, but with these you still got to be careful. Just wiggle, 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 and try and take your time with getting them out without snapping them. Next, I'll probably take these out. They feel like 8mm bolts, so take those 2 out, take those 2 out, and I'm going to get a small flat nose screwdriver to see if we can help wedge those out. Okay, they're the 6 bolts that were along these inner grooves. So next I'm going to definitely be doing these 2 and those 2, and then see if we can get those out as well. Okay, got those out. They pretty much just need 2 flat nose screwdrivers, and just try to slowly get them out as possible. Not slow to go slow, but you don't want to break things, so take it easy. Instead of a bag, because they can screw back in and they don't stop anything coming off, I've put the 4 bolts just to nip tight back there. A new tool joined the group, a T40, that sort of head, one of those star heads, and that will sit in nicely there. So you've got 4, 1, 2, without the shade, 3 and 4. So we'll get those out. Okay, so all those 4 are out. That was the tightest one. I had to almost use a crack bar. Well, I did use a crack bar, but just a bit of pipe to hold on to the end of the longer part of that. That was super tight. Oh, you get that. So just stick my screwdriver under there a little bit. And look at this. Look at the movement. So what else is left before this fully cracks? Is there anything along the sides? Who knows? Don't know. I'm just doing it off ear, by ear, everything off ear. But looks like it's moving a lot. I'll keep on prying and see if it pops. Put the screwdriver under, just right on that corner, and look at this. Pop goes a weasel. Hello. Look at this. Oh, hello. I'm Mr. Ed. Do, 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 do. So that's good. I'll see if that will come off. It's practically all loose. It just seems like this thing is stopping it. So I think I'm going to have to take where those Allen keys as well. I think there's 4. Take that right off, like face off, like that. So around this throttle body, but this has got the gas extra on it. Get that off and see if that makes it easier. Look at that, our friendly 5mm small ratchet is the size for those, what are they called? Yeah, those Allen key sort of heads on them. So I'll take all 4 off and go from there. Oh, didn't mean to leave my light on. Oops. Okay, so that that tool didn't work very well as far as getting the bottom ones out. I used a longer of the same size, and then on the shorter end I used a small ring spanner, and then just, you know, the deal where that helps pry it open that way. So, and you got to make sure you get the actual whole bolt out, otherwise it still has trouble. Even when you loosen it, it still has trouble coming out. So the bolts here are pretty long, 4 of them, and then it just comes out. It's got its own gasket there. I have to have a look at that gasket before I put it back together, but look at the engine, look at this, look at the milk. Look at this. Having a Sunday, far out. This is the old gasket. Now, as far as I know, LPG engines run in good condition. They run cleaner engine, so you'll see a lot more cleaner look, minus your latte, in these sort of engines. So look along here. Wow. This is like jumping in the deep end. But if I can do it, give it a try, you can do it. And inside, look at this milk sundae, far out. Coffee latte, whatever you want to call it. All needs to be clean. Now it looks like, yeah, I can see the rubbers here, not there. The rubbers have been left behind. So I have to take those out before I do anything else. So this is where we're up to so far. I took those rubbers off and put them in the rocket cover. Look at this. You couldn't have got more milky than Cadbury Dairy milk chocolate. Far out. Not good. This is the reason why all this work has to be done. We will get there. I just did this one. You're going to need a rattle gun for this, so it's 10mm, and it just rattles it off and boom, like that. One piece wonder. I'll be able to check all the bearings later on. Let's stick it up there for a second. It can stay. I think this is the one that needs to come off. I think actually there's bolts, if I remember. You can line that up, yeah. You can get to the bolts through there. You just got to line up your holes. How many is there? We'll work it out as we go. So that's off. That's really off. That must go on the inner somehow. Maybe that broke off. Anyway, keep going. Look like I'm going to have to get rid of this aircon radiator. Pain in the neck. So it's going to need those 2 lines dropped. And what else we got holding this? Yeah, probably there, maybe there. Yeah, probably maybe that one. Anyway, I will be checking whatever's holding it, because even getting the rattle gun in there, this is in the way. And when I get the Harmonic balancer tool to pull it out, this is just going to be in the way. So unfortunately that's going to have to come out, and I'm going to lose my gas, damn it. Okay, so what I've done is I took the 2 10mm off, if they're up there, and with the aircon line here, let me see if I can get in a bit closer. There, that's got like an 8mm, and what I did to let the gas out, I just slowly unscrewed it until I heard some hissing, just a good amount of hissing that would stay constant, and then went away for a bit while it let itself out. Then I came back once it was finished. Took probably around the hour mark, half an hour, 45 minutes, definitely over half an hour. And then I tried to release it a bit more, and a bit more gas came out for about 10 minutes, and then did a bit more, and it's pretty much fizzled right out, and then it come off. So that's out, that good sized pipe with its 8mm bolt there. So all we got left is to remove this, because this is all off there. All I've got is that, what have I got holding on? Must be this one up here. I think I'll just take that off and that should come off. Another 8mm. I just took the 8mm out of there, and then I just got a flat nose screwdriver just in there and just pried it up, and it just popped out like that. In and out. Too easy. So that should be released now. Oh, look at that. She's out. Another one. There she is. Now, I definitely got more space. Unfortunately, I had to lose my aircon stuff, but at least I've got all this space now to be able to move and put tools in there and all that sort of stuff, so much better. Alright, keep going. The next, what I'm going to do is just get a rag and try to get as much of this milky crap out of the engine as possible from this part of it. Now have a look at this, ready from there to that. So just gave it a bit of a wipe over. It's definitely got some oil in these areas. We'll take a bit of a clean for that. Yeah, cleaned all there. It's almost like it's not melted on rubber sealant there, so I'll look into that. That'll be all cleaned off later. So yeah, let's see what's next. Okay, next was the 10mm. There was one there, and one up on that corner in there, just there. They're 10mm. Now I used the small ratchet for that small space, and not the bulky Sid Chrome one. I used a small one that seemed to fit better with a 10mm socket on the bottom one. So that's out, and now that's all off the head. The main thing is we're trying to get things off the head to be able to remove the head, and all these extra things are bolted onto it. So we'll keep on continuing. So next I'm going to approach this one. This one's a 10mm and it didn't need to be impacted. Just cracked it, just normal, and it's all coming out all by itself. So I'll just take that out. Now if you look at that, look at this, what's this crap under there? Spider web. It's got like a little locator mark. Now on the back of this, look, you got a little dowel, sort of metal dowel there. So you can't go wrong with where this goes in. Bang, straight in. So it's good when they do that. Locator. So I'm going to take this pulley off. As I said before, you just turn this around to the nuts opposite. I'll take that off. You can see one in there, and there's one there. So I'll take those off now. So there's 3 10mm bolts that come out here. There's only one long one. The other 2 are shorter ones. The shorter ones are more at the top. This one on this corner is a long girl. So when they're different, it's always good to make sure that you got that remembered to put them in the right ones. Now this should slide. That's all your power steering stuff, see? I'll just put that over there like so. And that's off, look. So these are the good parts you can get in there and clean them later before it goes all back together. So I'll just get another bag and put those 3 bolts in. So that's the bag I made. I don't know if you can see it in the light, 1 second. Power steering pump bolts, and the 3 in there. this is pivotal for later. When you're putting it together and you can just go, oh, where's me bolts for exactly that? Just go get it. Got it handy. So yeah, good tip though. I'm going to fish out these 1, 2, 3, 4 10 millers. So I'll grab those on the front timing chain cover. Okay, those 4 are out, and they're long ones, all exactly the same size. So they'll go in a bag at the moment, and if there's any more for that that timing chain cover, I'll put them with it. But at the moment, that's those 4. Just took off this throttle body, just unplugged. You just have to push down on these, that little tab there, pull it out, take it out the way, get it out the way. The next task I'm going to tackle is this manifold. So all these, you can see in here, where are we? There. All these 10mm bolts there, they're all along it. We'll count them up once I take them out. But you just follow where the pipes go, and they should be pretty much on one side of them all the way, all along there. And there should be some most likely underneath as well. I'll have a look. Okay, this bracket that was just down there goes in that direction. See, it's got a bend in it, so when you put it back it doesn't go down that way, it goes that way, so it bends out like that. This bracket, once you take this bolt clearly out, because that was underneath there, from this, so you can turn it. Same with this one. On this, right down there, the other side of it, the one that's going down that way, you just turn it because there's a bolt down there that you have to get. So you can get those brackets out the way. This one I just loosened, and then I'll put it to the side. Oops. Yeah, I'll put it to the side and I'll tighten that up so it sits there. That's nip tight, sort of nip tight, and that's the way that bracket goes in there, in that direction, straight down. So we'll keep on continuing. Oh, and on this model, they should be all the same. These had 2 darker looking bolts. Don't know why. But this is, so far all the bolts I've taken out. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 bolts there. So then we've got the second bracket. So that'll be 10. 11 bolts so far, so I'm still continuing. What I can see is 12 bolts. Now, I tell you what, this tool, that length, got onto the very back bolt. Now that bolt, oh boy, unless you got like one of those electrical air compressor ratchets, I literally laid on the manifold with my head while my arm stretched all the way down to the very back, got my hand right down in the very back quarter, used my other hand to guide it because the bolt is disgusting where they just ridiculous. I mean, good for the engine, but to work on, yeah, it's right under that last one, right down just underneath. If you're going to start on the bolts and you've got a lot of energy, use that to get that bolt first. That's what my suggestion would be, to get to that back one and then work your way through. So you got one underneath, you got that one there, that one there, and they're just opposite each other like that on most cases. See again on that one, they're opposite there, that way they're opposite there, and so forth. So that's showing that it's off, but it's still very strong, so something else is keeping it upright. But as long as that's off the actual head at the moment, that's the main thing. So I'm going to count that as done for now. Now I've got to look into what I'm next going to do. Next I got a 21mm socket, and you definitely need an impact socket. It makes it a lot easier for these sort of things. And there's the big bolt sitting there. So we've got that, so that's ready now for the Harmonic balancer tool to remove it. Okay, this is the Harmonic balancer removal tool that I'm getting. Total price only $18.80, and that's with delivery from Just Hardware. So that's what I'm getting. Still hasn't come yet at this stage, and some U-bolts. And instead of spending money on this proper tool, unless you're doing it like you're a mechanic obviously, and you do that for everyday work, see how much they cost? And that's probably a low price, $159. I've seen them for over $200. So that's what the proper tool look like, or the proper made tool for a harmonic balancer is. But let's show you a cheaper way if you want to save on just pulling a simple thing off, which is the harmonic balancer. Okay, so this is the kit. It did come today, which is good, on a nice Friday afternoon. Made in China, of course, that's why it's cheaper. But let's see how this goes. So what we need extra is 3 U-bolts, so I'll show you the size U-bolts I get with this. So we'll go from there, and let's make it cheaper to remove our harmonic balancers. So these are the U-bolts, or D-shackles, or whatever you want to call them. 25, 6mm, and they're 500 kilo ones. Let's grab that off the ground. So yeah, these ones at $2.20 at the moment in Bunnings. Okay, so we've got the tools out here with these sort of U-bolt things. So what we do, go in here, see the 3 edges, with your thread side, that goes on the most inner, because your bolt has to go through that section, just the same as what it would be in use with its own original bolt. You push it around, and come on, and she gets into position like that. It goes around, and it's got room for that bolt to go through. So I'll put the other 2 on, put the bolt through from the tool, and we'll get it into position, show you what that looks like. I end up going back to Bunnings because it's all it is these size bolts. Yeah, these are just very slightly different, or slightly bigger to these. So these are 6mm thread as far as set on the right up. So when they go in, look at this one-handed, put that on the hole there, if it'll go. Yep. 1 second. That's why we're given 2 hands. Anyway, so these thread through a lot easier. So while you're at Bunnings or a hardware place, if you're getting the same deal, yeah, just get the same size bolts, same length. Oops, there was one there already. Alright, so sideways, put it next to that, so they're practically the same length anyway, just longer thread. So you want that to go through that mechanism the same as it originally does. So let's put them on. Come back. Okay, so this is the setup. Put the 3 bolts through into the U-bolts, and bring this out as far as possible first, before it actually goes into the hole. So you've got to thread this backwards to bring more of a tension into each bolt, and then it'll have time and have that position to start, because you obviously want it with the tension almost straight away, because it's not the longest thread inside there before it hits the wall. So let's see how this goes. Okay, so we're I've just done just to get the tension up a few rounds, but it is you can see the movement a little bit already, so let's see how we go. Coming off. She just cracked. And off she goes. So give or take around just under $30. Better than the $200 and something. And that tool, how we just made it, put things together, worked. So that will save you big bickies. Okay, back soon. With that harmonic balancer out the way, you can see all the bit of build up there around it. But what a better and quicker way of removing it. Maybe not better, I mean obviously the perfect tool is always going to be just a bit quicker than putting this together, but it saves you some big bickies, and you can put money where, you know, somewhere else, which is a bit more vital. Even food on your plate these days. Alright, we'll be back soon. Next I'm going to tackle, because now I can get to them a bit better. This water pump does have to come out, so we've got one under that grease there. Where else have we got them? There's definitely one under that, yeah, that one of the pulleys. I know that we need to take 2 bolts off the sump on the very front. They definitely need to come out, but anyway, I'll just tell you what I took off on the next stage. Okay, next I've taken these 3 bolts out here. So the first one was that one right under the pump just there. Second one there, and just above it on the alternator. So that was in their order that I took them out. Keep going. The next 2 bolts I've taken out, this big black one with the red thread locker on it, that came from just above the water pulley just there. And that small silver one is right at the back under this bracket here of the alternator, so that drops the alternator. It's definitely dropping. I'm still trying to work out how to take this one out because it's hitting the pulley, so work it out as we go. I just moved the alternators here. I just moved this bracket up because it's loose now, but I can see another bolt under all that grease just there, so right there, that has to come out definitely. Hopefully it doesn't hit the pulley as well. Anyway, take that one out, see if we can take it out. Okay, that really greasy bolt in there was another big black one with the red Loctite on it. Now the 2 at the back I'm getting out with a ring spinner. Most of these ones are with the sockets, so keep that in mind. Keep going. Okay, next bolt I'm going to get, and when they've got a lot of grease and gunk on them, it's hard to see, so there's another one just above the harmonic balancer, really, where it was, so just there. Gonna get you. Okay, she's all out, and it's another long black one. That one didn't have thread locker on it. Okay, I've come to under the car. So this is the front of the sump. This is obviously like a boat pointing thing under the hull. Anyway, so looks like there's 2 on this side. So there and there on one side, and I think. And let me see if there's anything. Obviously, let's go on the other side of the cover. 1 second, there's my torch on. Yeah, torch is on. Okay, so there's another 2 just in the dirt, in the grease. So those 2 as well. As far as I know, they're 8 mils. So let's double check. There's the 4 sump bolts that I just took out, which should be part of holding that front timing chain cover. So that'll go in with the mix of those bolts. Okay, near that solenoid switch or whatever, there is another one just, I think, where obviously there's one just at the end of its wire there. Check there. There's one there, just under there. We get those two out. Okay, those two bolts are out. That's that more drier looking one was more higher, and that one was near the back of the solenoid. So it's still the same size, all 10mm. Two rubber sealant blobs there and there is exactly in the middle of where that splits for the cover. So remember, when you're cleaning this up, you're going to have to put two blobs in the same spot. Next I'm going to take, there's like a 10mm just behind where that water inlet pipe goes in to the back of the water pump, and take that one off. Okay, that's off now, and that's the little 10mm bolt with its little bracket to hold the pipe onto the mount. I was thinking, oh, I should get some movement by now, but yeah, there's one just underneath, right under there. So I missed one, so let's get that now. And that bolts out with a bit of red thread locker on it, and I can see it's started to leak, so definitely starting to break its seal. I just moved that up and down a little bit and it's broke, but make sure you got a bucket still, because I obviously have cleaned around there since, so I've got another bucket out ready, and that's definitely in the process of coming loose, as you can see, and the water's flowing, so that's a good sign that we're making progress of getting that water pump off. Let's see what else is holding it. There wasn't much left holding it. It was just that bolt that I didn't get out fully. Where are we? So if I lift this up, it's on that bracket. That bolt doesn't have to fully come out, but it needs to be slightly loosened as this comes forward and comes off. Oh, the grease around there. Anyway, that's water pump removal. So we're definitely exposing the chain cover now. Getting there, making good progress. Next I'm going to remove that sensor there. I think that's a Phillips screwdriver that I can see, so let's see how we go. Under further investigation, that looks, I think it's more of a star, the star like the L-shape bracket one, so I'll go get some tools and come back. Yep, so that sensor is a T30 star head, so that'll fit in there somewhere, and it'll be a nice slow turning process. Okay, that's out, so it's practically just this this squeeze clip. Yeah, squeeze it up. Where are we? On this side, is it? Square. Where are we? Yeah, you squeeze it down the end there, pop it off. So this is it. Got the bolt with it, small one, and that'll be cleaned up anyway before that goes in. Just put that there for a second, and it's another piece of the puzzle out. So just put this wire somewhere safe, and let's see what else needs to come off. I don't know if that was needed, but I've just got the aircon just sitting there. It's still got the 4 bolts in there, so there's 10mm. So there's one, where are we? Yeah, just there, 2. In the sunlight, just there, right there. And there's 2 underneath, one sticking out a little bit there, and one's in a bit. So this is still tight for some reason, so I've dropped that, so it's only 4, and just pull it to the side. There's a bracket that holds the aircon, so it looks like it's got one big bolt there. Oops, so you can see. Let's see if we can see. Okay, so we got one there, there's There's one under that lip, that's 2, and you've got one down the bottom, that's 3, and there's one just near the oil filter, just down there, 4. So don't know if they have to be taken out, but it's still tight around the cover. So I'm going to drop that bracket. I'm going to get into it and clean it anyway, so it's coming out. Trying to get that the air conditioning bracket out. It looks like they are 13 or 14 mils. One sec. Okay, that's all out. That bracket, it's really dirty under there, and the bottom of this is where the bracket, in the direction the bracket goes, it's the bottom, that's the top, more cleaner at the top. And I've just left the bolts in there. So if you had a whole bunch of bolts just lying around, you didn't know, this is what they look like. That's one. Nice and clean, that. Look at these two. Clean on the inside, definitely dirty on the outside. They look all pretty much the same style. It's good to know if you've forgotten what bolts, if they're just lying around, which ones they were. So now I'll just check a bit more what's holding that covering. Okay, so I just got in between down here. Can you see down here? And just got the bit of the crowbar just to, you can get into that little bit of angle, and it's actually starting to move like that. So we're almost there. It might be a little bit on the rubber on the shaft there, but it's definitely cracked all on one side now. Look, more shaky. All right, I'll be back in a second. I was very careful to push that apart a little bit. That was really held on pretty tight, but it looks like it may come off. Oh, what's that? Ah, see, look how much silicon's on that. Oh, 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 there that goes. We are in. Woohoo! Awesome. That is so good. Back in a sec. So a bit more closer look. It looks like the guides are not even broken. They look perfect. I don't think there's any breaks in that. And on the other side, good condition. Wow. Now I've just got to do a bit more research on doing the timing before I take this chain off. I heard it's about the two yellow marks up the top, but I want to make sure that they're all in their right spots. So I'll show you that, what I find out next. Okay, top dead center. Okay, so I'll tell you what I did. Sometimes you have to go 2 or 3 times around, as far as I know, but I had to go twice. So what you're looking for is you got these 2 yellow markers. You got these little dots underneath, have to be dead center of those yellow markers. There's one on both sides, you can see it just there. So they have to be at the 12 o'clock. We've got the orange one that's just above the cog, yeah, and the one underneath here, you'll see the yellow. You see that little embossed section of the cog up here, just here. I'm running my finger over it, just there. That has to be at your 6 o'clock, and with your yellow colouring on the chain as well. So that is top dead center. So next, what we're going to be doing is probably take off the guides. Now I'll show you a little bit more on how to hold that pin in its spot, but for now we'll just start releasing the chain. So we'll I'll take off actually I'll take off the pressure first. So I'll take off this one. They feel they could be around the 8 mil. Anyway, we'll be back and we'll get through this together. Okay, that's off, and I'll show you a bit more on when we put that back on. But that's in its own separate bag. And off there, a bit of oil came out of there. So that guide should be a little bit more floppy like that. Look at that. Beautiful. That's released a good amount of tension on that now. So yeah, we'll continue. Okay, so that guide was just the 8 mils. So these ones look more the 10 mil. Take these guides off. There is 3, it looks like, just here. And I've also wrote, just for my own preference, left just there and right camshaft. So we'll go from there. Okay, so I removed that guide. Look at the condition that is. That's excellent. So the very top one of the 3, which is sitting up the very top, is a smaller bolt. So be mindful, it's smaller. The other 2 are the same. So if you mix your bolts up, just look at this video and this will help you. Smaller at the top and then the 2 longer ones as they go down. So that's the right hand side guide when you're looking at the engine. Now I just took off the chain, just brought it out and just laid it on the left hand side. So next is the exciting stuff of being able to take out the top cam rails. So we'll be back in a sec. This is a please note section. These have been practically made specifically for your individual cams. So it's important to keep these in their exact order and the cams in their exact order. So when you take this off, this needs to go back on this one. And if you go to a Wreckers and try to buy one and put it on there, you may run into issues, yeah? So be careful with that sort of stuff. So my next procedure will be taking off these rails. They look by size, just by viewing, they look like 10 mil. So looks like we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 on one side, and the same on the adjacent side, or the opposite side. Alright, back in a second. Okay, just back for a second, just thinking like, how much, if you do this yourself, if you follow the steps, I'm not a mechanic, okay, I want to make that clear. I'm just mechanically minded, if that makes any sense. So I still get the your your everyday average feelings when it comes to taking on something that you haven't done before. Yeah. The only reason why I make videos is to help people. I don't. You see me. I don't say, "Oh, subscribe and hit the notification bell." I've got that on the very end, like as a bit of a picture, but I don't push that. My main ambition on YouTube is this helps me like document what I do as a diary. If something comes good out of it, as far as helping you out in general life with money, so be it. If it doesn't, it doesn't. What I'm trying to help is you guys who watch my channel, and if that helps you save a little bit of cash, helps you feel a little bit more confident in doing something, that's why I do these videos. So I'm trying to document this as much as possible, because I don't think you get much change out of $2,000 at a mechanic to do what we're doing right now. So if you can do the job yourself with a few bucks, you know, your gaskets, bit of sealer, blah blah blah, this is what's important for me. All right, and that's why I'm doing this. So the next procedure, like I said, these are called what are they called again? They're called the cam caps. So the caps have to be kept in their exact order, yeah? So I'm going to put some at the moment I'm just going to put some black marker as like 1, 2, maybe 3, then 4, and it'll be on video as well, so I'll be able to look back and verify my own work, so to speak. So I just wanted to put that in and point that out, that I really appreciate. I mean, I've got I'm getting some good amount of viewing and subscribers, and it's good. It gives you that really positive feeling of you know, people are liking what you're doing and stuff like that. I try to get people back to most people's comments. when I'm actually uploading. That's why it might take a little bit of time to respond to some messages, but that's mainly when I'm making videos and then I'm uploading and that sort of thing. So again, I will be definitely getting working out just a camera, not my phone, with a tripod to make a little bit more better content. But at the moment I'm just still using my phone, one-handed job, and trying to do the best I can. So hope you appreciate it, and hope it helps you out, and definitely I hope you're having a great day and everything's going well for you. So anyway, we'll start numbering. I'm going to just write on these ones, and then I'm going to start releasing the caps. So this is what I'm talking about. I've got number 1 I wrote down, and also get a rag and dry the area first because they obviously had oil on them. So 2, and then back here I've got 3 and 4. Yeah, so they're in order like that. So yeah, those bolts are all 10mm. I've cracked every single one of them, so they should be all, it's just oily, so it's a little bit harder to grip with your fingers, but yeah, they're all cracked. So I'll just take them out momentarily. I'm not going to take them out of the actual thing, I'll just unloosen them totally out of the head, and because when I pull up the caps, I want those bolts just to stay where they originally are. So we'll be back. So I've stuck the caps just on this crappy old painted box. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4 is marked, so that'll keep them in their position. So if you look here, that's the cam still in there. So you can see even when I've taken it off, see the L, and look at the R, they've rotated with the pressure coming off. So that'll keep them, when I put them back where they're supposed to be, with those little dots on the side, inside there. Bang. So now to remove the cams, and that's just a simple case of lifting them up and put them where you need to put them. Put them in a nice safe spot, away from people disturbing them, of course. We're out in a nice safe spot in the garage. So next we're going to get these little, well not little, but yeah, those head bolts out. And the exciting part, I always find this a little bit exciting, to see what's going on underneath that caused this coffee looking oil. Now I've drove this car to get the, like in the previous video, to get the tray from the wreckers, because I had no tray when I got it, and there was not one sign of overheating. It's never shown any issues at all, so I'm hoping that it's bare minimal, just a original gasket that's finally had its day. So we'll get those bolts out. They got a lot of sort of like a star head, so I'll let you know what socket I'm using to get that out. What am I using for the head bolts? Well, I'm using the multi teeth, not just the, well, I'll show you the difference between multi teeth and more your basic teeth. So that's like just flat edges, and that's got multi teeth. Yeah, so that is a 9/16 multi teeth. So that's got multi teeth on it. If you zoom in, it's got a few teeth on it. Yeah, whoa, 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 whoa. And that's how you drop it. So that doesn't even move. Perfect for it. Multi teeth 9/16. So we're going to get out right down there 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 bolts. Let's go. Talking about those bolts before I remove them, you have your impact guns, yeah? I personally rather crack them just naturally with your ratchet or a breaker bar, probably breaker bar is a bit more safer again. Actually, I might do the breaker bar first and then the ratchet. And the impact does what it says, it impacts things, and it can impact them in a negative way. So I personally would rather crack them in a bit more slower fashion with the breaker bar, but I know that it's not really jiggering that thread that's being ground into the head of the, or should I say the block of the engine. So that's what I'm going to do, get the breaker bar out. My breaker bar set up, it's a Sid Chrome one. Get these from Total Tools and stuff like that. I already cracked one, and it takes a lot of force because they're pulled down pretty tight there. So let's get these out. Due to not being a mechanic, I don't know, but when I've got to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the left, that is a lot tighter than all the rest. So I don't know what went wrong. That is, I just found that very wrong on that side, being that tight. So I don't know what's happened there. Even this one, it was almost like it was impacted on without being properly torqued down. These two were terrible, and once you get it too tight, it almost feels like it's going to slip off the socket. Put the socket in a new position and make sure she's definitely flat and level before trying to crack it. Now I can see this item here is sticking right over that bolt, so that sensor, oh, that almost feels like a 7 or a 6 mil. Let's check that out and remove it. Looks like we're number 7 mil for that back sensor to be taken out, so always remember anti-clockwise to take them out. Alright, back soon. Once that 7 mil is released, just tap it a little bit carefully. That pops all the way down like that, so you can get to the bolt. And the other one, there's another one there, but that one's not in the way of that bolt, so you should be able to get to it. Okay, so those two at the back cracked pretty good. These two were literally, it felt like an impact socket. So whether they did a quick job on a Friday afternoon and just couldn't be bothered tensioning it, or it's been replaced, these two, I felt like I was going to break the actual bolt in the head. That's how bad it was. So be mindful and be careful when you're doing these anyway. So I'll just take, now I've cracked them all and they're all a bit easier to move, I'll get the old hand ratchet onto it. So it was 14 bolts, and this one looks extremely dry. So 14 bolts have to go to the bin. Never put used ones back in because they lose their strength being in such a hot engine over time, so always replace them. Okay, so we're at that pivotal moment of getting the head out. Now I've got one out of those sensors, all the bolts are out. It's very hard to get to that nut that's holding that in. I'm just going to first see if I can crack this and maybe make it a little bit more malleable. Let's see if that works anyway. Goodness, how easy was that? Like, I only just got two hands under here and just pulled up a little bit, and look. Oh, wait, let's try one hand. It's off. Woohoo! Alright, I'll just see if I can get to that bolt nut thing at the back a bit easier. Okay, for now I just stuck that junky impact drill just underneath slightly, because I can now get to that nut that's underneath there to pull that sensor out. So I'll get that sensor nut out with that 7mm. Okay, good news, got to that. And there's the sensor down there. Don't forget, that has to go in after you do that left-hand bolt, at least on that side anyway. But yeah, best to leave them both out until you get your bolts all tensioned down. So let's see if this head will come out and we can have a look at the gasket, and that'll be part 1 of 2 of this video. 2 will be the cleaning and getting everything prepared to go back together. So just get that head off. bring that forward, and I forgot about the rear sensor. There's got a rear sensor plug there, so we're going to take that off before this head will come all the way out. Let's get that off. Okay, so this is it. So to get that plug off here at the back, you just got to push in to the corner part of it, and that pops off that way. So throw that over there for a second. Oh, we've got a bit of metal sticking up on there. You can definitely tell the gasket's had its time. There's a lot of black and chrome, but once I remove that, just have a closer look. Be back in a sec. This is the gasket from the front part of the engine bay going backwards. I'll take a little bit more study of the gasket after. And one sec, the torch back on. So this is along the block. That looks more copper on that to this spacer, or dowel, silver. But there's it doesn't, I mean, again, I'm not no mechanic, but it doesn't look as bad. And remember, this never overheated, this car. The only time I noticed it was milky is when I went to change the oil filter. So hopefully it's minimal. But this is the end of part one. Next we'll be diagnosing and checking that gasket, cleaning, getting things ready to go back together. What a job. But you can do it if I can do it. So keep your confidence. Don't be scared, because if you don't get into your uncomfort or uncomfortable zone, you never get anywhere. So always get comfortable with your uncomfortable, and you'll get further.